What up, everybody? We're live. Episode 18, Latino Free Minds. I hope everyone had a good week. We're getting toward the end of this week, so work's been pretty busy, staying consistent. How's everything been for you?
Good. Month ends are always busy for me, so starting off this week a little bit more, I don't know, not relaxed, but less pressure, I guess is the best way to put it. But everything's good.
Yeah, it's like when you get rid of that, it's kind of like that unnecessary stress.
Yeah.
Where, someone you would hope someone else got it, right? Like that help you need.
Yeah. But not to sound like complaining, it's just like different levels to each month,
Yeah.
And for me, at least in what I do, the end of the month, if we don't prepare right, we kind of put ourselves in a tough situation at the end of the month. So it kind of builds up a little bit, but I'm not complaining. Glad to have work, kicking ass. So
exactly right.
Yeah.
No, I've been talking about the CPR trainings I'm doing. Got one more tomorrow and one more on Tuesday, and then done for a while. So
that's it.
Finally getting over that. Can focus on regular
for
stuff.
A couple of years.
Yeah, for a couple of years. So I mean, it's a good it's a good skill to have, right? To be able to train people on that, but also to do them all like so consecutively, it's not that fun.
Yeah. Your arms are shot or what from
my elbows. I wake up like this.
You're locked up.
Yeah. But no, I mean it's good though. It's good. So since the last time we were on here with Peter, we had a couple things come up as far as like, how could I put it? Things that we've spoken about and kind of, would you call it proving our point?
Yeah.
In a sense, right?
It's validating what we've been talking about. Mm-hmm. I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Because, especially when we've been talking about, our kids and what we do to raise them and being the influence, knowing our kids and all that stuff. And, one of the key points that you had brought up, it was either our first or second episode, was how when people say you belong to the community, right? And you clarified it's not belonging, it's being a part of a community, right? So we kind of, we didn't kind of, the president, Joe Biden, had said something where it was kind of the opposite of that. So, I'll play it right now, and then that way, could react to it after.
Rebecca put a teacher's creed into words when she said, "There's no such thing as someone else's child. No such thing as someone else's child. Our nation's children are all our children."
So, yeah. So what are your thoughts on that? Our nation's children are all our children.
So in other words, they belong to the community. They don't belong to the parents.
Yeah.
If you notice, politicians are the ones that are saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Kamala Harris and other politicians have used, words like that. They've used language like that where they try to brainwash us into thinking that our kids aren't our kids. That what they're trying to tell us is that they know best as far as, what they should be learning, what they should be teaching them, and what their morals should be. Mm-hmm. That's what when they use that language psychologically, that's what they're trying to tell us and program us. And that's what they're telling the kids. So that, we hear that in the news, we hear it from people that are in a position of power, and our kids are learning that as they go to school. How many times have you heard, mamá, papá, ustedes no saben cómo funcionan las cosas hoy en día?
Sí.
And in other words, the kids are telling the parents, you don't know how things work these days. Like you're old school, you're old, you're out of touch.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, how it is today.
Yeah.
So they're hitting us from all angles, man. We're taking fire from all angles.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that's the thing, right? And then it's also like, okay, another way you could put it too is like your kids belong to the government.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And
but it's a subtle way of saying it.
Yeah.
So when you say it blunt like that, parents would have a defensive posture to that. They'd be like, "Wait a minute, excuse me, what did you say?" But when they go, "Oh, they belong to the community. They're a part of the community," and then now he took it a little step further, with that language that he just used, those words that he used right now. So, I go back to what we had talked about. Most politicians have a lawyer background, so they're good with their rhetoric. They're good with their words. They're very strategic in the way that they present things.
Yeah. No, that's true. It's just it's funny because like I said before, how we talked about it, and then actually hearing him say I was like like you said, that validation, right? That is exactly what we talked about, and then the president goes out and says that, and yeah, and if people aren't paying attention to it's that subtle, right? That subtle message of they're not yours, they're ours. I mean, little by little, it's like they're planting seeds, right? That will eventually normalize that government dependency, right? Because I think that's what, that's obviously, that's to me, that's the goal, right? For people to be depending on the government, and the government, that communism, right?
Yeah.
Government makes everybody equal, and it takes away the people's purpose. I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of the family too. So the family, the person, and it's like a domino effect. You gotta start somewhere to knock down the family.
Yeah. Well, that's like straight up removing the parents, then, right?
Yeah, breaking up the family right there.
So it's we got to, as parents, as people of this country, we have to stay on top of that, be aware of those kind of things, because I'm pretty sure everyone as a parent, right, loves their child, wants the best for their child, and any responsible parent would want to make the decisions for their child, right? Because they're young, their minds aren't fully formed, and they can't fend for themselves, and you're not gonna let somebody else raise them, right? And it's a tough battle, because it's like we said before, it's everywhere, right?
Yeah. I mean, you can apply. Oh man, you can apply that to so many different scenarios. We can use the example of, okay, so my kids are a little bit older now. Actually, a lot older now. One of them is married. So you think about this, okay? So you have your kids and you're trying to do a good job as a parent, and you really don't know if you're doing a good job until they're kind of grown, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's with you, the person that cares about them the most. Like, any parent would say that they would do anything for their kid, right?
Yeah.
So imagine leaving that responsibility to someone else.
Someone you don't know.
Exactly. And having the trust that they're making the best decisions with their interest at heart.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, if you ask anybody, they're gonna say that they wouldn't trust very many people.
No, I mean,
They're trying to make us believe that they know best.
Yeah.
When all they care about is, we talked about it with Peter. Why do politicians want to stay in power?
Mm-hmm.
It's like to continue to have that control, that power. That it for them, it's a livelihood.
Mm-hmm.
It's a job. So some of them, take the job on to do the right thing.
Right.
But we know that they're morally bankrupt. They don't have any good values. They've been caught doing so many bad things, that only benefit them. So why in the world would we trust them?
We shouldn't, right? And that's kind of plays into, the schools, right? And how it's tied in. You have that audio clip and I have the video clip. So I don't know if you want to play that one first, and then we'll react to it, and then I'll play that video. But just to kind of like what we're talking about is trusting these unknown people with your kids, and whether it's at school, where else would you have your kids? Sometimes family, because not all family members are,
aligned with
yeah. So
visions and things that political, not just political, but like moral positions, I guess. In today's day and age.
yeah.
So, and before I played, we were talking about this a little bit with Peter on the last episode, and I was kind of bringing it up, is that the point that I was trying to make in that conversation was that people aren't awake, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the point that I was trying to make is that the reason that they're not awake is because in school you have decision makers, as far as the curriculum goes, and the teachers, and all the way from the top to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
They're not teaching the kids how to think freely and how the government actually works. And and that's the point that I was trying to make, which puts everybody in a disadvantage because, they're again manipulating you into one direction. So if you don't really understand how the system works, you are going to be manipulated.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the point that I was trying to make in the last episode. So I'm going to play this clip of Donald Trump and what he says he's going to do when he becomes president again in 2024. So this is his mission.
For many years, tuition costs at colleges and universities have been exploding, and I mean absolutely exploding, while academics have been obsessed with indoctrinating America's youth. The time has come to reclaim our once great educational institutions from the radical left, and we will do that. Our secret weapon will be the college accreditation system. It's called accreditation for a reason. The accreditors are supposed to ensure that schools are not ripping off students and taxpayers, but they have failed totally. When I return to the White House, I will fire the radical left accreditors that have allowed our colleges to become dominated by Marxist maniacs and lunatics. We will then accept applications for new accreditors who will impose real standards on colleges once again and once and for all. These standards will include defending the American tradition and Western civilization, protecting free speech, eliminating wasteful administrative positions that drive up costs incredibly, removing all Marxist diversity, equity, and inclusion bureaucrats, offering options for accelerated and low-cost degrees, providing meaningful job placement and career services, and implementing college entrance and exit exams to prove that students are actually learning and getting their money's worth. Furthermore, I will direct the Department of Justice to pursue federal civil rights cases against schools that continue to engage in racial discrimination and schools that persist in explicit unlawful discrimination under the guise of equity will not only have their endowments tax, but through budget reconciliation, I will advance a measure to have them fined up to the entire amount of their endowment. A portion of the seized funds will then be used as restitution for victims of these illegal and unjust policies that hurt our country so badly. Colleges have gotten hundreds of billions of dollars from hardworking taxpayers, and now we are going to get this anti-American insanity out of our institutions once and for all. We are going to have real education in America. Thank you.
Well, I mean, I I don't hear nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? That
With what he said right there,
Mhm.
you know, people when they're problem solving, they always go for the root cause, right?
Mhm.
I mean, that's what the approach should be.
Right.
To me, that's the root cause.
Oh yeah.
It's that education right there.
Mhm.
So just imagine, we start off with that education, right? We start shaking up, the staff, the people that are funding certain curriculums and, the direction that a college is going into, and just in this example. So I don't think it's going to, he was just specifically talking about colleges, but it's not going to just start and end there. I mean, if he's talking about colleges, it's going to trickle down to, public education.
Oh yeah.
So, I think that's the root cause right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you 100% because that's right now. That's where, like we were talking about earlier, like you leave your kid at the school for 6 hours with, 8 hours with someone you don't know. You don't know what their personal beliefs are, what kind of agenda they have, right? Schools don't want to share curriculums and stuff like that. So that's an easy target. It's a young mind that's impressionable. And again, I think we had said it before, you get 12 years, 12, 13 years with these kids. And, by the time they're out, they're a whole nother, they have a whole nother belief system.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and yeah, and a lot of the stuff today is more Marxist, communist type of stuff that is being pushed as equality, right? Or fairness, or whatever you want to call it. But that's kind of similar to the other clip that I have here. Like I could play that one and then we can continue.
You can't teach the Bible, but you can teach children that America is evil and that men can get pregnant. A man can get pregnant. Can't even talk about the Bible. You would not trust these people to babysit your children for 20 minutes. And why should we then let them educate millions of American students 6 hours a day, year after year after year? Whatever it takes, the conservative movement must liberate America's children from the captivity of these Marxist teachers' unions. What they're doing to our children and to our country is incredible.
I mean, if you're paying attention, you can't argue that. I don't know. What do you think?
No, and it goes back to the same thing, is that what is the agenda at the schools?
Mm-hmm.
It's is it actually learning something educational, or is it trying to mold your belief system?
I would say right now, mold your belief system.
How does school fit into that?
I don't know, man. I don't know where. How could I put this? I feel like the school system, even when I was in it, you noticed it was declining, right? And even I kind of saw that. Like I wasn't fully paying attention then, but I kind of knew like, all right, the school system like isn't the best, because I think I said it before. It's not really preparing you for the real world, like out of high school, right? Like if you didn't get into a college or anything like that, like what do you do? You know what I mean? Like if that makes sense.
I'll be bold enough to say that it doesn't prepare you. It's not set up to prepare you, period.
Yeah, yeah.
I challenge a teacher to come in and say that it is preparing you for the real world. I don't
Mhm.
I don't think it is at all whatsoever.
No.
I went to um, parent teacher meeting with my son when he was going to be a freshman at a charter school, right?
Mhm.
High
Mhm.
school. And they were talking about how they were going to prepare them to go to college. And how if they could take college courses there and they could, graduate with an associate's degree and all kinds of different things like that.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm going, isn't that the goal for every high school? Like, so you're telling me that if I go to a public high school, that isn't their goal? Why are they talking about it, and building it up? It's like what they were talking about is what should be the goal for every public school, every public high school.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I started, asking questions and stuff like that. And it's like, no, that isn't the goal. That is not what they talk about going in as a freshman. It's just probably just to graduate. Maybe that's what their goal is just to graduate, just
Mhm.
enough to graduate. Or maybe not even to
Number.
graduate because, if they're not able to, if their graduate numbers, and someone can correct me, is, for a public high school, if their graduation numbers aren't that great, maybe they get more funding. Maybe
Mhm.
that's their whole deal is that they need more funding. They get more money.
Well, I mean, if that's the case, it should be reversed, right? If kids aren't
Exactly.
graduating, you're not getting money, and
And that's kind of what Trump was talking about is
yeah,
parents are getting ripped off. We pay taxes. We're the ones paying for it. It's
yeah,
coming out of our pocket.
yeah. I think last time I checked, right, it's your here in California, it's your property taxes that goes towards the schools. So everybody that owns property is paying taxes on that property here in the state, and this state has some of the highest taxes. So for our schools to be as crappy as they are, yeah, we're getting robbed, right? It's like taxation without representation there, because I don't see the school system doing any better with all the money being used, supposedly being used for it. And kind of to the point you were making, it's like the teachers unions. I feel like they're more concerned not about the success or the preparedness of the student, but they're more about like, okay, what can we get for the teachers? You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not, I mean, they have a lot of sway, it seems, these teacher unions. So, they're always going on strike because they want better benefits. They want better pay, this and that, and this and that. But it's like, well, if you want all that stuff, like you're supposed to get rewarded when you're doing well. It's like people want all that extra. If I have a job and I'm not doing my job, and I'm putting in the bare minimum, why would I be expecting a substantial raise or a promotion? You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
wouldn't, because I didn't earn it. And that's what these teachers unions to me have kind of messed up, is some of these teachers aren't earning all these things that they're fighting for.
Yeah. The system needs to get shooken up. And I
Mhm.
think that's what Trump is putting down right there. I think that's the message that he's putting down. So, can't wait for 2024. I mean, I don't want the time to go by fast. Time goes by fast enough already, but when that time comes, can't can't wait for it to happen. So we'll we'll see. We'll see what develops, but I think that's what the message is. I think he's going to hit the nail on the head if this happens.
Yeah. You know what, man? Like, it's like, I want like an honest debate. I don't want these moderators that are super
We're
to
not
one
gonna get
side,
it.
super to the other. It's like, dude, give us, because, you know, theoretically, the president's supposed to represent everybody, right? Or have the best interests of everybody, not just their party. Um, you know, you would hope, at least when it came to these debates, they'd have someone, you know, they try to keep the moderators really balanced, not just, you know, what we, especially the last ones, they were really swayed to one side. And I don't know, I think I had seen something that they don't even want Biden debating. Um, I don't know if it was presidential debates or whoever in the DNC is challenging him. So I think they just kind of want to roll with Biden and just keep it at that.
Well, you know why? Part of it is because what's that? The Kennedy. He's he's running for presidency, and he's talking about holding um, the Justice Department, FBI accountable, and all kinds of different, um, with the whole COVID situation. He wants to hold all the FDA and all these other agencies accountable, for the mistakes that they have made. So now there's rumblings that, they're admitting that they made errors on that side. They don't want the everyday citizen hearing this, especially if they lean towards the left.
Oh no, especially
Someone from the left saying that there was, some sort of manipulation of data or whatever the case may be, whatever they're, willing or have the courage to come out and say, that is true. They don't want those regular Joes listening to that message. So well, guess what? They're going to shut them up. Why do you think they're getting rid of certain shows? Tucker, Bongino, all kinds of different popular TV hosts.
Yeah. I mean, and I didn't get the clip just to kind of show people it's like, who was it? AOC? What'd she say? She's made a video. Basically, she was happy Tucker was gone. And I think her key point was deplatforming works. So you have a government representative publicly supporting anti First Amendment actions. You know what I mean? Celebrating it. So, just think of that.
Can you say communism?
Right. So, we were talking about Biden, right? And him not wanting to debate. So, I just I think this clip is important because I think a lot of us have been saying this, that Joe Biden isn't the one running the country. There's other people behind the scenes. So, this is from his voice directly. So I'll just play this.
By the way, the one thing I thought when I got to be president, I'd get to give orders. But I take more orders than I ever did. And you're right, babe. What's your name?
Goodness.
You know what I mean? Who's running the country? I mean, a lot of these, man, when I hear them talk, I think I was telling you earlier, it's like, oh, you said it. You're like, it's comical. It's like watching comedy. And it is like, if you're
that TV show, like the TV show is so bad, I wouldn't even watch it. It's like that bad.
Oh man, it's crazy. But to get back to the initial point is, yeah, these schools don't have our kids' best interest. They have agendas, and they're making these kids, in when they grow up, to be, honestly, like, hate the country, like, or really have a real disdain for it, because all they're hearing is the negative, right? the, if you want to call it the negative side of history, that, right? Like they'll hear about slavery and who was a slave owner, and we're on stolen land, and whatever narrative or whatever saying you hear from these woke young adults nowadays, it's like all the little kids are going exactly through that too. And I think that's the thing. It's like when you want them, it's like they're manipulating history, right? To exclude that, this country, even though it's gone through some things and, probably got better, learn for the better. Like they don't show that part. It's just like, no, they did this, so this country's bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're not even good liars. There's clips of like Gore saying that, in 10 years, the sea level is going to rise and all these ocean front properties are going to be underwater. New York's going to be underwater. Florida is going to be underwater. California is going to break off, and the coast is, and all these things. But the thing about time is, it's kind of crazy, is that it reveals the truth. So all these, they always say in 10 to 15 years something's going to happen. Well, the 10 and 15 years pass by and it doesn't happen. And there's a clip going around in Instagram about this guy. I don't know who he is, but he's talking about banks and mortgages. And it's like, if it was true that the sea level was going to rise and all these, all this land was going to be submerged in water, they wouldn't be given, the banks wouldn't be giving out these mortgages or approving loans to these home buyers that are in that area, because it's like throwing money away. It's
let alone the insurance companies.
Exactly. So they're lying about it, and they're not even good liars about the lies that they're telling. So
they lie so much they still suck at it.
And they just depend on people not paying attention and having a short memory span when it comes to that. And it's all part of the manipulation.
Yeah, I think that's why the news cycle is so like rapid. One
it's
day
rapid fire, just going in all kinds of different directions.
So that, like you said, if someone's not like, closely paying attention to it, or it's just things just fly by, short memory span, like, oh, on to the next thing, and it's like you don't even know how that last thing got resolved or what ended up happening with that, but now we're already here. You know what I mean? And it's like that's just it's part of the manipulation. Let's keep their minds here, there, but let them not focus on this thing. Just throw them everywhere.
Yeah. What was the latest thing that Biden said? It was something that Trump had said that was a crisis, and he comes out like he's the one that figured out that it was a crisis. Oh, the TikTok thing, it was TikTok. Remember? Came out and he was going to ban it, and he actually did, and he had an executive order, and he called it a national crisis. And Biden comes in, and he takes off. He makes an executive order to get rid of Trump's executive order, and said that it was never a crisis. Now he comes out and says that it's a crisis. So it's like, they continue these lies, and they're never held accountable. Why? Because the media is part of the government. It's an extension of the government, so they don't hold them accountable. Imagine if Trump did that. He would be impeached 10 times over. They try to impeach him were crap that, wasn't even true. It
Yeah.
was fabricated, and it went through the entire process, and then they find, that it wasn't true, so therefore they can't impeach him.
Yeah.
Imagine if there was something that was true, they would have impeached him 10 times over.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy, man, because I think that double standard, right? It's so obvious nowadays how when one group does this, nothing, but when someone else does this, it's loud, right? Everyone's loud about it. And there was something else where it was like just recently, but I'm kind of going blank on it, where exactly what you're saying, right? If Trump would have done that, or if it would have been Trump, something with Biden, but if it would have been Trump, it's
Well,
like, yeah.
if Hunter Biden was Don Jr.
Oh yeah, yeah, he'd already be locked up. Yeah,
Before they even proved it.
Yeah,
it would have been rumors, and based off the rumors, they're probably already trying to impeach him, and they got both of them locked up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's they're so untrustworthy. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's like we were talking about, like having having elections nowadays, and people don't trust it, right? You got your media, your news sources. Nobody trusts them. Your politicians, your representation. Nobody trusts them. So it's like it's crazy. And yeah, people have to wake up, because all those people that are in politics for their own well-being, I mean, it's obvious, right? A lot of them go in and they come out rich. The only person that in their time frame in working in the government, the only person that benefited from it was themselves. And their districts getting worse. For example, Nancy Pelosi, right? Everybody knows she got really rich being in Congress. But if you look at her district, San Francisco, it's like, what has she done for the people of that city, right? What has she helped advance? Obviously, there's mayors, the governor, and all that stuff for the state, the city, and all that. But you would imagine the representation that's out there in Washington is kind of bringing light to all the issues in your state, in your city, your district, and you're trying to get those addressed too.
Yeah. Can you look up and see if Gavin Newsom called the National Guard or something like that to go to San Francisco?
Oh, I think I had heard that, but I don't know if it was official. Let me see. I believe, was it for fentanyl, supposedly?
I think so.
Let's see. I'll go to NPR. I'm pretty sure they're pretty woke. So that way they're not like give me 1 second so I can share this. Share screen. Okay. Here we go. All right. It says NPR, according to NPR. So let's see. They're not fake news, right? Governor Newsom sends National Guard and the CHP, okay, to tackle San Francisco's fentanyl crisis. So it's April 22nd, 2023. California Governor Gavin Newsom is directing the California Highway Patrol and National Guard to assist San Francisco authorities in combating the fentanyl crisis in the city. The two agencies will be partnering with local police department and the district attorney's office to attempt to stem trafficking of the deadly synthetic opioid. Two truths can coexist at the same time. San Francisco's violent crime rate is below comparably sized cities like Jacksonville and Fort Worth. He chose Florida and Texas. Okay. And there is Also, more we must do to address public safety concerns, especially the fentanyl crisis, Newsom said in a press statement on Friday. So, yeah, the four agencies are expected to crack down on crimes linked to fentanyl and increase law enforcement presence in public areas. It says, however, Newsom's office vowed that the operation will not target those with drug addictions and instead focus on the drug suppliers and traffickers. Huh. So if you don't target the people that are buying it and just the people that are selling it, doesn't it keep supply and demand? Doesn't it keep demand up?
You took the words out of my mouth. So if the demand is still there,
The supply is going to be there.
so you take one supplier out, the demand is still there. Another supplier comes in.
Yeah.
But let's think, if you go after the suppliers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it makes no sense. It makes zero sense.
And if there's no demand for it, it doesn't make any sense.
Let me see. I want to make sure I read that right. However, Newsom's office vowed that the operation will not target those with drug addictions and instead focus on drug suppliers and traffickers. Okay. Yeah. I mean, if they're not going to target the people that are buying it, and even if they, let's say they're not targeting them to, what is it, to arrest them, right? That's what I'm assuming. They're not going to arrest people that are actually using it, or in possession of it. So, I mean, how much fentanyl can you be in possession of to be like, oh, okay, I was going to use this? So then do you let that person go because you just think, okay, they're an addict? That's not. It's like, what do you call it? It's like such a gray area. And knowing the way that crime gets handled in these cities, I doubt like anything will come of this. I mean,
well, let's go back to these AGs and DAs and all of these people. So there's a lot of stories that cops aren't even arresting people because the DA is not pressing charges. So even if they target them and they go after them and they don't press charges, I mean, what's the point?
Yeah, because there's no consequence, and that person's just gonna go back to, I guess selling more, buying more, whatever it is that they got caught, right? And I mean, so there's two things that are funny about the story, which is like, okay, the first thing is increasing police presence. So the group that's so defund the police, anti-police, is increasing police presence. But it's like, well, they're not gonna target anybody.
Dude, you just hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail on the head. Check this out. Remember we talked about what they want? They're putting it in motion. Remember we talked about, so defund the police was about taking local police enforcement out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now they've got the National Guard coming in, nationalizing it, federalizing it instead of local law enforcement.
And people think it's okay.
That's the way they're actually.
That's exactly what you said.
Talk about validation. This episode should be called validation.
I'm gonna call it. Wow. Yeah, and that's exactly what you said. It was the episode before, Peter, I think. Wow. Oh, and the other point I was gonna make, it's like, well, if Gavin Newsom really wants to stop fentanyl, how about he sends the National Guard to the border
where the fentanyl is coming from?
How about that? How about you, like you said, root cause? How about you just hit the root?
Validation number 3 so far. Border.
Oh my goodness, man! It's It's crazy. It's like what do you call it? Conspiracy facts. Um,
So yeah, they're turning into conspiracy facts. Wow.
and
And
it's
it will
like,
be San Francisco, the one that starts National Guard on the streets,
mm-hmm,
doing the job that local law enforcement should be doing.
mm-hmm,
It's happening.
yeah, yeah. It's it's crazy, man, because like, how we talked about this before, and then you see these kind of things that are validating what we're talking about, because sometimes, and I when I'm talking with Christian, sometimes we'll be like, man, like it feels like we're crazy. It feels like we're the crazy ones sometimes, because you know, sometimes you see people and they just don't get it. And it feels like, damn, am I crazy? But then you have these kind of stories come out, and it's like, no, I'm not crazy.
No, I mean, this is validation that you are not crazy. So, but see how they do it?
Yeah.
It's like how many people are going out there, hey, man, you were talking about defund the police. Now you got the CHP going into the cities. You got National Guard going into a city.
Yeah.
You're saying that there's no border crisis. Drugs aren't coming through there. There's no drug smuggling coming through there. But, we got a fentanyl problem that National Guard is coming in to try to help and resolve. After
Yeah.
you said defund the police, the crime rate is down, but we need the National Guard for drug, consumption and trafficking and X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it definition of what's the term that everybody loves to use nowadays?
Gaslighting.
Gaslighting. Stop gaslighting me, man.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's like sometimes it feels like you're crazy, but it's also like, you know, people got to wake up. Like, you, how can I put it? It's frustrating to see people still don't see it, and it's so obvious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, like people have to wake up. Like, it's gonna get to a point where it's gonna be, well, it might not ever be. This might be exaggerating or being overly dramatic, but it'll get to a point where it's gonna be too late. Whether that's for the country, whether that's for your state, whether that's for your city or your own home. Like one of those is gonna get to a point where it's too late. By the time you realize or want to accept that, damn, like, oh, I was wrong, or whatever. Like, I think people gotta, they're real prideful too, right? Especially like, for example, like if you get like those real like super liberal people that are so anti-Trump that they hate him, never Trump, whatever they are. It's like even those people gotta admit, all right, we're not better off than we were today, when Trump was in office. Um, where the possibility of World War III is like right there, it's around the corner. It wasn't like that with Trump. And, food prices, gas prices. There's so many things. Like you could take it to like a low level or you could take it to an extreme level, but they're all worse than when Trump was in office. And that's just a fact. I mean, like I said, you can see it every day. So I don't know. I feel like people gotta either swallow their pride or like pay attention and like actually wake up.
Yeah. My mind goes to, well, how many of the average Joes, aside from us, that, we talk,
Mm-hmm.
actually verbalize what they're feeling or, what their opinion is? All we hear is the corrupt and maybe the batshit crazies that
Mm-hmm.
are out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So I still stand, that this is the majority. The minority has control of the bullhorns right now. That's why we only hear it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my opinion. I think people see it, people get it. We just get frustrated with the people that we see that don't get it. I think the majority of the people, whether it's deep down in their bones, they know what the reality is.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to someone on the phone, and they're like, "Oh, we were both driving on Bluetooth." And then he's like, "Man, I can't believe the chickens that I see in front of me in this semi, being transported.
Mm-hmm.
They're supposedly free range chickens and stuff like that, and GMO free.
Yeah.
They look all beat up and all diseased and sick
Yeah. Yeah.
and everything. It's like people see it, man.
Yeah. You see them on the 99, the 5.
Yeah, and people see the reality is just that we're average Joes. We don't, we're not the AOCs where they've got camera crews and they're taking photo ops and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, hopefully here soon, the bullhorn will be ripped away from them, and we'll start seeing who the real majority is. And I think part of it is going to be like, dude, I can't wait to see. They're going to have to cheat their asses off to win in 2024.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, well, hopefully, even if they are just average Joes, right? More of them start to speak up. More of them start to, do something,
I think they do. I mean, look, if we compiled all the Instagram videos or TikTok videos out there of where they're knocking, I just saw one maybe 2 days ago. I was kind of flipping through my phone, and it was I think it was, I don't have TikTok, but someone sent it to me. And it was of someone knocking on the door. They were running for city council or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they're knocking on the door. The guy's got a mask on and everything. And he's got the little Ring camera.
What a hero.
Yeah, my hero. So he's knocking on the door, and you could hear the guy talking from inside the house from the other side of the door. Goes, "Who is it?" And he goes, "It's so and so, and I'm running for office." Da 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 da. Right?
Yeah.
And the guy goes, "Are you a Democrat?" And then he's, yes, I am. And he's like, "Well, you can leave." So he basically, shoos him off, goes away, and stuff like that. I think that is happening more and more, but we just don't see it.
Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, to that point, it's like if there are more, even like you said, even though they have the bullhorn and they're loud now, it's like there are more average Joes than them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the beauty of being the way this government is set up and being the people is there's more of us than them. So if we, in a sense, get our shit together, we're gonna be able to, make the effective change that we want. And it's not like a violent thing or anything like that. It's just like, no, we have the power where we want to make the change. We're going to make this change. This is what it is because we, the people, rule. Yeah. So I think more people have to, start speaking up on that, on saying, no, we have the power, because I think, I don't know if we were saying that before, but it's like, a lot of people just think the government is the one that's, that they rely on them. The government's doing what's in their best interest, or it's like the person that doesn't pay attention to their kids in school. You're relying on the teacher. They're going to do what they got to do. So it's, I'm going blank on the word, but it's just like, you're just, is it dependent? But you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Is that we give them the control when we really have the control. They're supposed to represent what we want and do, advocate for us.
Mm-hmm.
And those people that you're talking about don't expect the politicians or the people that hold office to advocate for us. And that's what the expectation should be. We were talking in past episodes, and we talked about it with Peter on the last one, is that that is gone. That notion is gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it goes back to the whole education thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that we don't really, we know it's wrong. We realize that they're not doing what we want them to do, but we need to understand that we have decision-making power. We can decide not to stand for it and impeach them out of their position and get someone in there as many times as it takes so that they do advocate for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, yeah, that makes sense. And, I think my main thing is like, how long or is the majority of the people going to wait? Do you know what I mean? Like I was saying, it's like, because it gets to a point where like if we want to talk to like on the kid level, like on the children, it gets to a point where it's too late, right? And in a sense where it's not, your child's older, they're able to quote unquote think for themselves. And then so kind of like what you were saying, right? Like the kid that goes, tú no sabes, eres de tiempos diferentes, like you kind of get into that. And not that it's like too late where it's what do you call it? It's pointless, or you can't come back from that, but it is harder.
Yeah. The only thing that I could tell you is to get to that point, you have to reach the precipice where you're not going to take it anymore. You got to understand that the way that we are living right now, although it seems bad to us compared to other countries and other nations, it's really, really good.
Yeah.
And the way that they've been making the changes and manipulating us, it's like a slow boil. Have you heard that metaphor? It's like if you get a frog and you put it in a pot with water, with just like room temperature water, and you turn up the heat, the frog won't be able to tell that the water is getting hot, and it will boil, right? But if you have a boiling pot of water and you throw the frog in there, it's going to jump right back out because it feels the difference in the heat. So that's what they're doing. That's what their strategy is that they do that slow boil to where we don't even feel the difference in the temperature. It's just happening. And I think when people start realizing they get to that precipice where they realize what's happening is when you start fucking with their kids and with their money.
Yeah.
So watch, what do we say? Validation. So let's see if we get validated on that point, because if it wasn't for social media, right?
I think that's the tipping point.
Standing up on the school councils, dude. There's a lot of people standing up and saying no to this crap. And if it wasn't for social media, we would think that no one's standing up.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, no, and I think that's to me, like that's one of the tipping points.
That's
like
the precipice.
That's the precipice, like how they're trying to mess with kids to where they're normalizing all this stuff that little by little leads into, normalizing grown men being with children. It's like that's, I think, where people are really gonna say, fuck this. They're going too far. That's and they're trying to normalize these sort of things like little by little, right? In little increments. it's kind of like how we were talking about earlier, how Biden said what he said. He didn't say it direct, but it's just kind of subtle enough to where if you're paying attention, you know what he's saying, right? So it's like when you see about all these, drag things, whatever the UN is trying to recommend, it's like it's subtle, but you can see what it is. You can see what's coming. And I think it gets to the point where it's like, no, the people are gonna have to make a stand, right? Make a decision. Which way are you gonna go? And I was listening to another podcast, and the guy was putting it in a way that made sense. It was like, well, he kind of connected like all this current normalization of pedophilia, basically, and how the Epstein thing happened, right? And you never got to hear who exactly. There's no charges for anybody else. The whole Epstein thing happens. Nobody gets charged. Just that lady and him, and he hangs himself. Um, and all these powerful people that went to the island, more than likely did things with minors or people underage. They're it's kind of like a conspiracy theory, so to speak.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's still going on. And
Yeah,
Bill Gates' name is being thrown around on there. The only thing is, who's got the bullhorn?
yeah,
So they're not reporting on it.
yeah. And what he was trying to say is they're normalizing this pedophilia thing because all these crazy people, all these people in power that have already partaken in that shit, when pedophilia is normal and allowed, those people get off because they go, oh, it was a different time, but hey, that it's fine today.
Yeah.
So those people never get the justice they deserve. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
You know what?
I mean,
That's been happening for a long time. It's been happening before Epstein got arrested. Maybe, yeah, they're fast tracking it more now because they see it coming. They're like, hey man, that black book is gonna be dropped here pretty soon. So you know what? I know we've been trying to normalize it for years and trying to pass,
let's get it now before.
bills and stuff like that, and the people haven't been buying it. So we need to fast track it. We need to get this done sooner than later. So yeah, they're forcing it. Maybe that's what he's trying to get. That person was trying to get at is that now they're really fast tracking it. They're forcing it because they see that hammer that's about to drop. And going back to the point of, the precipice being the kids and money. And so I think kids are, will get people there faster than, messing with their money. So yeah, they see it coming and they're getting ready for it. I agree with that. I didn't listen to the podcast, but I can tell you that I agree with the, whatever point that they were trying to make straight up.
Yeah, no, I mean the way he put it was a valid point. The way he structured it, I was like, okay, that makes sense. And it's like, yeah, it's one of those things where, like you said, when you start messing with kids and you start introducing things like that, trying to normalize things like that, I think that's when more and more people are really gonna put their foot down and not allow it. Even if they want to fast track it, I think
they're gonna red pill more people when they fast track it. It's gonna work against them.
Yeah, exactly.
The slow boil effect is taken out because instead of a little notch at a time, they have to bump it up several notches now. And it's like, wait a minute, that water is getting a little too warm too fast right now. I can feel it.
Yeah, and then you got a couple frogs jumping out.
Yeah. So, look this up. Talking about validation. Look up increase in homeschooling. I don't know if they have like certain time period that they measure that on.
Let's see. Oh yeah, there's this little graph. Let's see. share this right now. Looks like it's gone up a lot.
See if that validates, people waking up and seeing what's really going on.
So you got this. It says applications doubled from 2018. There were hold on. Growth of homeschooling in the United States. Let's see if I can make this bigger. Here we go. Oh, hold on. Share this tab. Okay. So that's kind of growth of homeschooling in the United States.
I mean, just with that
Upward trend.
Deep freaking upturn there. Even if you can't really see it that much, you could. Come on, man.
What is it? Thousands? Okay. So we got 10. Yeah, I mean, it's just going up. It's
Skyrocketing.
Since 16 to 2021. And, it's a lot of it probably has to do with the overreaching during the pandemic, having to constantly have a kid masked up. And a lot of parents weren't.
No, but they ramped up this whole freaking agenda too.
Yeah.
21. Is that 21?
Yeah, it's 21.
Dude, that's when they started pushing all this crazy stuff.
Yeah. So there's that. Both of those things combined, a lot of parents just said, no more.
Look, these type of numbers, this type of data validates that people know what's going on and that we're the majority.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what anybody says. Data is data.
Exactly. And it's just, we homeschool. And yeah, at this point, at this rate, I wouldn't send any of my kids to a public school at all. I'd rather keep them here. I'd rather, we'd rather kind of go through it here and be in control of her education. We pick a curriculum where we know everything that's in it. There's no, what do you call it? The random person trying to give whatever agenda they have to my kid. It's like, no, I picked the curriculum. I know exactly what's in it. I know what my child is going to get out of it. And I think that's why people go through homeschool now, because there's also that angle, right? You don't trust the schools can't even tell you what's in the curriculum, but you're supposed to just trust them and send your kid there.
No, where they're trying to block the parents from, even being involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
How does that convey trust?
Not at all.
Hey, parent, you can't be involved in what your kid's learning, and we can hide what they're learning. We don't have to tell them we don't have to tell you what they're learning.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of trust does that instill?
Oh, I'm gonna show this clip because what's his name? Bill? Is it Bill Maher? He is super. Well, I don't know. Every time I hear him, it sounds like he's getting more and more red pilled. But he's a lefty.
No. Hey, he's exactly what you were talking about earlier, moments ago. Is this guy is probably worried about when that little black book is going to drop, and he's trying to flip the switch right now.
Yeah, so
because he was one of the nastiest. I can't stand his voice. With some of the absurd.
Howard Stern must be in that book a lot then.
Yeah, he is. He is.
Because he really bitched out. Here's this one. Just it kind of goes into what we've been talking about.
The amount of indoctrination that's happening in schools and universities is, I think, far beyond what parents realize. Parents are just generally not aware of what their kids are being told. You know, who are the first few presidents of the United States? They could name Washington, and I said, well, what do you know about him? Well, he was a slave owner. What else?
Right. Exactly.
Nothing. Slavery is obviously a horrific institution, but we should still know more about George Washington than that.
And by the way, one that was practiced all over the world
Yes.
forever, since the beginning of time, by every race,
Yes.
including people of color. I'm sorry to tell you that. I feel like I'm walking on a roof with a blindfold. I could fall off any time.
Yeah.
That was the most innocuous thing, but it's like, you know, I said George Washington was a great president. Well, how dare you?
Yeah, pretty simple, right? Like, and it must suck for them, right? All those lefties. That, you know, the way he put it, it's like you're walking on a roof with blindfolds. It's like, yeah, you're gonna fall off because eventually you're gonna say the wrong thing, and you know all that stuff that you advocate for, deep platforming, censorship, and all that. I think we had said it before. It's all cool till it gets turned on you.
You were talking about it when Proposition 8, was it?
Yeah, Proposition 8. How
Everybody
it didn't go.
was
Yep.
everybody was voting against it, so they couldn't get it on the ballot. So they turned it over to the court system, and then they got it.
Yeah.
And we said, yeah, you're all happy right now, giving each other high fives and slapping each other on the ass. And then what happens when that works against you? So it's working against you.
That's what people don't. I don't know. That's what people don't. Do they just not realize it? Like that the what's that saying? The pendulum swings. Eventually, it goes the other way.
Yeah.
Because that's you know that's a lot of what's been going on, and again to kind of repeat what we've been saying since the first episode, it's like a lot of these people don't know they're being manipulated, so they don't know they're manipulated. They don't know they're supposed to be looking out for something. You know what I mean? Like I believe there's a lot of those people,
and I think that's why I've been talking about the Che, looking into that a lot, because I think that's part of the strategy. They go in saying that they want to help you, they want to make everybody equal and everything, and as it starts happening, then that pendulum starts swinging back around, and you go, but wait a minute, you know, this wasn't supposed to be about me. And then they turn around, no, you wanted this. You were advocating for this. Now this is what equality looks like. So this is, you know, you're going to have this amount of food rationed to you, and you're going to have this curfew, and you're going to be able to do this, and you're only going to be able to own so much, or you're not going to be able to own anything, because that's the fair thing to do.
Yeah.
And that's the way that communism works.
Yeah. And isn't that what Obama said? Didn't he say something to the effect of you're not gonna own anything, but you'll be happy?
Oh, smokes.
Something like that. And I gotta look it up. But
no, I do remember that he says you didn't create anything.
Yeah, there you go. I think that's what it was. I might have been thinking something else. But yeah, like that business.
That's not out of pocket either. I think he might have said that too. So, but I do remember that you didn't create anything. You didn't create it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was it. That was the one I was thinking. That he he said that business that you have, you didn't create it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There you go. I wonder who said the one I just said right now. Somebody said that.
Punch it in and see if it comes
You
up.
own nothing and be happy. It says you'll own nothing and be happy is a phrase originated by Danish politician Ep.018 in 2016 essay for the World Economic Forum. Oh, there you go. the Great Reset, the World Economic Forum. Those
Sweet.
wonderful people.
You know what? We should test it, starting with her.
Exactly.
Sounds like she wants to volunteer. All those people at the Economic Forum. I volunteer them. Let's do an experiment.
Here you go. Here you go. Look at this one. What? It says why is Che Guevara respected? Che Guevara is the purest part of the Cuban Revolution. He is the symbol of the ideal of the revolution. He is the symbol of innovation. We all need change and we need hope. He is the symbol of hope.
Does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
Change, hope. When did we hear that?
Obama. Now read that one. Che Guevara created systems that put gay people in labor camps.
Sweet.
It's like the people that love what this guy's about. It's like, okay.
Yeah, wait until when we do this, he was a rapist. He raped women.
Oh my goodness, man. Yeah, I mean, that's what people don't they're just following trends. Or it's like I said earlier, right? They don't get the full history or the full context of history. They just pick and choose what they want people to hear. And then, people are left without like huge chunks of history and think things just happen a certain way.
Man, that's sad. What you read right there is, oh my goodness, I can't even imagine that happening nowadays. I mean, obviously from being wrong, but it's just sad that people don't even know, what they're representing when they have certain, shirts
Mhm.
and, people from history.
Yeah.
Manipulation.
Yeah. It's exactly what it is. Yeah. Sounds like a broken record, but like you were saying earlier, right? Root cause, it's manipulation. And if you want to go deeper, those roots are in the schools because they're going after the kids. And man, but we've been talking about that. We've been trying to tell people, pay attention to the schools, pay attention to what your kids are exposed to at schools, especially if you can't homeschool them, right? Not everybody can do it. We get it. But if you got your kid going to public school, it'd be wise to really get into what they're learning, what they're being exposed to day to day. And, because, the president's saying they're not your kids. So, you got to pay attention. You got to stay on top of them. Know your kids like you had said.
Yeah. Sad, man. But hey, there's good things happening. People are waking up. We saw the chart. So
yeah, more people are homeschooling. So yeah, people are definitely awake, especially when it comes to the school system. And I don't think it's gonna. I can't imagine like the school system going in this direction last any longer. They're probably gonna have to really revamp. And if it takes until Trump winning the presidency again, and he does implements what he had said in that audio clip, then I think eventually it's gonna change.
Yeah,
because like you said, enough average Joes will eventually start making noise.
Yeah, I think the movement's already started. Whether it's Trump gets in or not, people are fed up with it. We see very limited amount of clips of parents speaking out in school council meetings and stuff like that. I guarantee you it's a lot more people. There's a lot more people. These people, these politicians, they won't be able to go in public. They can't go in public anymore. They get heckled.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a bunch of videos of them going out there. That's why, you know, they're hiding behind these houses, these big ass mansions,
With
properties with fences
fences
and
and walls,
walls and security,
armed
armed
security.
security. So,
Yeah, man, it's the
the
hypocrisy, right?
hypocrisy.
God.
The hypocrisy. Oh my gosh, you're gaslighting me, man. Guns are bad.
Unless they're protecting me, they're
You
good.
can't get past my armed guard. The guns are bad.
Oh man, but no, I mean, you know, like you said, there's a lot of good in this world, and people, the people that are awake are making noise, and the more noise they make, we make, you know, we're gonna change some minds, right? You know, we got till, in a sense, you know, November 2024 to change a lot of minds, and hopefully, as a country, we make a better decisions overall when it comes to representation, and you know, just again, people that are gonna fight for our well-being, you know, for us to be doing good in this country. And you know, anybody that's not advocating for us to be doing the best we possibly can be doing, everybody, then you know, we don't need those people.
Yeah, and something to look out for is, remember what we were talking about, you know, making our voice or making a statement without being violent or anything like that, you know, with our money. So pay attention to what's happening. Look, these so a good example is Bud Light, Anheuser Busch, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're losing all kinds of money. Now they've got multiple ads going back to the old America theme, you know, commercials, you know, God bless America type of commercials, right? So they're retreating, right? They're losing a ton of money. I'm not going to say that they were going to, you know, go bankrupt or anything like that. But if they would have kept going in that route, maybe that's a possibility, right? So that's why they made a U-turn.
Yeah, because they took a substantial hit either way.
Yeah. So my point is this: these media outlets, Fox, CNN, you know, MSNBC, da 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 da. You know, you can go on and on. They're losing money.
Yeah.
You know, Fox lost a ton of subscribers. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
And we're making an impact with our money. Validation that we are the majority.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I mean, what more can I say? These people are going to fail. It's a matter of time. Time is crazy.
Yeah. Time is crazy. And
look, parents are homeschooling. You know, time is crazy. It's showing it.
Mm-hmm.
We're trending.
Yeah.
We are the majority.
Yeah.
You know what? I dare them to push harder. The harder they push, the faster they'll fall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. And you know, one of these days, one of these episodes is gonna go real viral because we're gonna say something that, you know, everybody's gonna hear, and we're gonna, you know, open some eyes too. Because I think you know, like I said, we have till next election for not just us, but anybody in general, right? You know, we're just two guys that decided, all right, we're gonna do this, and you know, use our voice to pinpoint things and point out things that people may not be hearing about, or giving people a different side of things. And you know, who knows? I'm sure there's others out there as well, right?
Oh,
You know,
there's a lot of people.
You know, and one of them, somebody is gonna kick off to where you have another prominent voice, right? And then maybe another one and another one, and it's just gonna start to grow. So they won't have the bullhorn. You know, the bullhorn will be on, you know, our side, and hopefully we're not being using it in the manner that they are, basically.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it all plays out, but you know, I feel I'm on the right side right now.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, the side that's against fucking pedophilia, I feel like I'm on the right side right now.
Yeah, I mean, not to be overconfident, but you know, I feel it. I feel that you know, I've been saying it, you know, we're the majority.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm just confident in it, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Cool. All right, then. Well, that was the episode. I'm going to call it validation because we pinpointed at least 3 or 4 where what we said, we're able to provide a current, it's called a recent time, current event that validates exactly what we've been saying, you know, and then not to be like, I told you so or anything like that, but just say, hey, you know, it's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's what the patterns, you know.
There you go. The patterns are showing themselves.
Yeah. That's it. Simple as that.
All right, then, everybody. Well, we'll catch you guys on the next one, and take care.